What's up guys, Mr. Basie here, and today we're going to be doing some more Seduce Me 2, The Demon War. Really quick before we get started, I want to talk about bell notifications. If you guys could do me a quick favor and go ahead and enable bell notifications, that'd be really awesome. I'll show a quick little tutorial on how to do that right here. Basically, it's going to enable you to, essentially see when I upload videos right away. You're going to get notifications immediately when I upload videos, and of course that includes Seduce Me. So if you want to be really quick on the Seduce Me videos, you want to see them as soon as they come out, or you want to know as soon as I upload them, enable bell notifications. So all you got to do is go on my channel right where the subscription button is. There's going to be a little bell. All you got to do is click that bell. A pop-up is going to pop up and say enable all notifications for this channel. You check off the box and hit save, and that's all you got to do, and basically you'll get notifications for every single time I upload, and of course that will include Seduce Me, so you'll know immediately every upload that I put out. And I'm actually trying to do 2 uploads a day. I'm starting to try to get into that. I may not always be able to do that, but when I can, I will. I've been doing pretty good the past couple days, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. We're doing some more Seduce Me very, very soon, so you're going to be seeing that extremely quickly. And if you want to know when, the bell notifications are the best way to do it. So with that being said, I'll jump into the video. Hopefully you enjoy. What's up guys, Mr. Basie here, and today we're going to be doing some more Seduce Me 2, The Demon War, picking up yet again with Diana. As you guys know, she's the very last one that we have to play with, so basically, we don't have too many choices before us anymore. So the very last choice, I'll bring it up one more time, is do you guys want me to give away the code at the end of the Diana playthrough, or, in the following episodes that have been made for this game, because there's little mini episodes that follow the game that have been made for it. So you can choose to have it given away randomly during one of those episodes or at the end of the Diana playthrough. Also, if you haven't entered the giveaway yet or haven't re-entered the giveaway yet, make sure you do it right now so you don't forget, because we only have one more code left to give away. Again, I'll see what I can do in the background. I don't necessarily know if I'll be able to, but I'll try to see if I can get more codes. I'll ask for at least one more code or maybe 2 more codes to see if we can get away with that. But Michaela Laws has already been really generous with this with us here by giving us game codes to give away for each and every playthrough. I thought that was really awesome. So we'll see what we can work out there. If we can't, it's no big deal. But again, one more code left as of right now, so make sure you get your entries in. So let's go ahead and get it picked up with Diana yet again right where we left off and see what is in store for us today. Alright, so the following days were full of chaos. The Demon Lord tried to come back and reclaim his pride. He did it again, huh? But Diana somehow managed to press back with ease, giving him more wounds than inflicted before. It was like the castle became an impregnable fortress. Soon, word spread around to the neighboring kingdoms of the Demon Lord's defeat, and continued failed attempts to attack. Many leaders sent messages of allegiance, which Diana humbly accepted, and soon enough, we drove the Demon Lord's army far back away from us. So this is pretty cool because, again, like I said before, I think we're seeing the progress of the war rather than just dropping in towards the end of it, like we do when we're with one of the guys, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty cool. After every battle, she would wind up in my arms, what the heck, which to the slightly obvious disapproval of Sara. Whenever a demon questioned my presence, Diana would simply wave them off with a small token of praise towards me.
She is my most honored guest, and she is here to help us win this war.
Awesome, but I'd like a little bit of a more sensual title, you know what I'm saying? Because we're just here to help win the war. All I'm doing is giving you energy. Still, the thought of what we officially were began to make me concerned. See? The very next sentence. Did Diana see me more than an energy source, an ally? We had kissed before we returned, but since then, I couldn't have been more unsure. I began to question myself. Why was I here? I could only shake my head in response. I shouldn't doubt anything. We were in the midst of war, and with Diana at the front, she had many responsibilities, many that I could never even hope to think on. The pinnacle moment of our relationship, however, came when a brute demon stormed into the castle all on his own. He was unarmed and carrying a single item which made many demons step away from him in fright. Diana, Sara, and I were in the war room with 3 other beings whom I had named Faye, Rabbit, and Shadow for simplicity. Oh, we gave them the names now? When the doors to the room swung open, everyone was forced to turn their heads from the map we were previously poring over.
What is...
Oh, so he wasn't always with the rebellion. He kind of just slipped in with All protest became silent as the being who entered chucked the object in his hand onto the table. As it settled to a stop in the middle of the map, all of the demons in the room stared in absolute shock. Is it a dome piece or is it a ween? It's a horn. It's his horn! Holy crap! Lying on the table was a red, broken horn. There was no blood or bone in it, but it was indeed the horn of the being who had stormed in. I became confused, wondering why this being decided to throw his horn at us. Well, as I looked to Diana, however, I could see the shock in her eyes. The expression on her face was a mixture of fear, surprise, and a little flattery, like someone had given her an exotic bouquet of bloody thorn-filled roses. What? That flatters you? The hell? Diana finally looked up at the demon who had entered the room and examined him.
Brute demon. What is the meaning of this?
What does it look like?
Are you still holding your... You are, man, dude. You always hold dump.
It looks like you're swearing your allegiance to the rebellion. The question is why?
He swore allegiance with his horn?
It's a brute demon tradition. If they leave their tribe to serve a non-nomadic kingdom without marrying into it, then they must break a horn in allegiance.
Great.
However, from what I recall, there are no more tribes left in the demon world after the demon lord's mass genocide of the brute demons.
Oh, jeez, man. Maybe did he do that because he was afraid? He didn't want anybody, stepping up to him? Because he's essentially a brute demon. And he's brute demon and Sam's brute demon too. But he broke it off at like the thickest part. Shit, you couldn't have broke it off at like the tip or something? Damn. I stared wide-eyed at Shadow. Mass genocide? The demon lord had that much power to eliminate an entire demon race? I looked to the brute demon, seeing him glare hard at Shadow at his remark.
Well, he didn't kill everyone.
You're the only one left! Holy shit.
So there are more of you?
A flash of grief flashed in the brute's eyes before he looked down at the table.
No, I'm the only one left, and I refuse to let that bastard get away with this.
Damn, see, that's it. There's no more now, huh? I felt incredibly terrible for the grief he had to bear. It must have been horrible to be the last of his kind. I looked at Diana, wondering what she would do with this information. The look on Diana's face was enigmatic. She was obviously in deep thought, but how was she going to handle the situation before her? Finally, she took in a breath and let out a sigh before speaking.
Sir Brute, you come swearing your allegiance to the rebellion. Is there anything you demand of us for your service?
It was the question she had asked every Alliance leader. They often asked for the promise of freedom or an oath of protection from harm. The demons who were with us in the room simply joined out of their own interests. What about this demon? The brute demon rolled his shoulders back and stared hard at Diana, making her straighten up a bit.
I ask for you to perform ascending.
The fuck is that?
Ascending?
For the souls of your people?
The brute nodded before stepping up and placing his large hand on the table, staring at the back of it in torn shame.
My people did not deserve death, but their ashes now lie in the earth. There is no one who can give them a proper sending, so I ask that you, Succubus, do this for me in return for my service.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Like it's such an inconvenience. I looked to Faye, hoping they would explain, but Diana turned to me and spoke instead.
Dear, ascending is a ritual brute demons perform to honor their deceased. It is a ritual of both celebration and grief, so it must be done with a full heart.
Huh? Oh, thanks. The fuck? Diana smiled at me and nodded before turning back to the brute. I was happy that she was still willing to teach me despite her position. The brute, however, finally took notice of me and glared.
A human? What is it doing here?
Oh, great. That's a good first impression. Excuse me, it? I became suddenly irritated and stepped forward to confront the demon, but Diana placed a hand on my shoulder and cleared her throat.
She is a vital part of this war, Sir Brute. Please do not disrespect her.
Jeez. I looked at Diana, seeing her press her lips together in a fine line and stare into the brute's soul. A part of me felt extremely flattered at her protection. However, I could practically feel Sarah's jealous aura from the other side of Diana. Where is he? I don't see him standing there. The brute took a hard stare at me before eventually nodding and crossing his arms.
So, will you do it?
Diana took a moment to herself, staring at the wooden table in thought. I began to ponder as well about it. He seemed to be a worthy ally, but Diana seemed torn. Was it appropriate for a demon who wasn't a brute to do it? Yeah. I mean, shit, why not? It's easy. I mean, he feels she's worthy of doing it. He came to her with the suggestion, and he is the last one, so I guess if he's not willing to do it, someone else has got to do it. I placed my hand on Diana's shoulder and nodded as she looked up at me in curiosity. If the brute wanted her to do it, then she should to gain a potentially powerful ally. I smiled and nodded to her as she slowly relaxed under my gaze. After a moment, Diana turned to the brute demon and nodded.
Very well. I will perform the sending of your fallen kin.
When?
This afternoon.
Everyone hitched their breath in surprise at Diana's words. She would perform the same day? Did she even know how to perform it properly? Diana? With a chuckle, Diana looked to me with a small smirk.
I'll be fine, dear. I know a fair amount of brute demon rituals.
Alright. That afternoon became full of hustle. Servants were rushing back and forth trying to prepare for a ritual they knew little to nothing about. Luckily, Shadow and Rabbit helped instruct everyone properly. I was taken to my room, given an opportunity to rest, but as I sat on the bed, I felt restless. I didn't want to sit around and do nothing for the day. There was much I could do, despite being a human. I wasn't some decoration. I defied my instructions and wandered. Oh, we're such a rebel. Hoping to find Diana. I wanted to help her if possible, but as I approached the room she was practicing in, I managed to catch a pair of voices.
My lady, I must insist.
Insist that I lock her in her room like a prisoner? Out of the
What?
question.
Jeez, Sara, man. I quietly pressed myself against the wall near the doorway and continued to listen in, now wondering what was going on.
She is not a pet or a slave, Sara. She is my guest and greatest ally.
Oh, shit. Greatest ally? Damn.
I understand this, but she's also a human. Every time someone new comes to forge an alliance with the rebellion, the human's presence is questioned.
And it's always, wavered. Look at that. She's tight-lipping you.
If they are turned away by a mere human, then they are worthless allies.
Oh, get shitty.
My lady, you are not understanding my point.
Then what is the point, Sara?
A small silence followed. I was in awe that Diana was defending me so hard. As for Sara, I began to hear the jealous beast he was hiding. What was he going to do?
My point is that people are questioning what she is to you.
Ooh. The question pained me to realize, but I was curious as well. What was I to her? She vouched for me as an ally, but did she like me as I liked her? I came with her to fix this world, but I truly came for her. After a painfully long silence, Diana spoke again.
I care for her. Very much so. Like I care for you, Sara. She is very important to me, for many reasons. She has become part of my life, and anyone who questions why will be silenced.
Damn! Silenced? I think we can all assume what that means. Crossed off.
Is that enough to appease you?
It is not my place to be appeased.
I took a breath, taking in what Diana had said. She cared for me. I wasn't sure whether to feel happy or sad at that, but I had to take it in that she cared enough to protect and defend me. I didn't get to feel the emotion for long, however, as Faye flew up beside me and grinned. Oh shit. I panicked for a moment, hoping that they wouldn't, put anything in my rectum. I'm just kidding. Give away my position, but they whispered to me, understanding.
Psst. We're about to go prepare the ritual dance area thing. Whatever. Want to come watch?
Yeah, sure. I opened my mouth to object, but was stopped by Diana's voice.
Now, please, leave me be. I have to prepare and cannot afford any more distractions.
Oh shit, you knew? Did you only say that because I was standing there? I grimaced. I came to help, but I guess she had to work alone. I left with Faye, not wanting to be caught by Sara and understanding that she needed to be alone to work. This ritual seemed very important to... Oh, she was talking to Sara, maybe. This ritual seemed very important to her and the brute demon that demanded it of her. In truth, I was excited to see Diana go through with it. The fact that she was willing to dance for the brute demon was surprising. When Faye and the handful of demons that helped them finish their work, I stood in the front line of a crowd surrounding the ritual area. So, to say that I was mildly nervous for her was an understatement. Did Diana even know how to do this sending? From what she insinuated to me as she brought me into my room, she would be given instructions and follow them to a T. Would she be able to do it? A small, quiet wave of gasps came towards my direction, causing me to look over at where they originated from. I stared wide-eyed at what I saw. Diana? Are you good? Where did this come from? This is the first time in this entire game where I think she's covered her boobs. Diana was dressed in some sort of dancer garb. Oh, there's that word again, with purple paint over her already tainted skin, shaping symbols around her body. In her hands were two large sabers glowing in the sunlight. She was absolutely stunning. Diana stepped between the crowd as they parted ways for her, and into a chalk-drawn circle which separated the ritual area and the ones watching it. Her bare feet guided her to the center as a... What the fuck? Her bare feet guided her as if they're just detached? To the center as a couple of other demons, each holding an instrument, set up near the edge away from where I was. At last, the air was filled with complete silence. The look on Diana's face showed pure concentration and focus as she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Oh my god. Some sort of serenade? The drums echoed through the air as the dance finally began. I stared, mesmerized by what I was watching. Diana's entire body moved in time with the beat and the instruments floating through the air. The sabers she was holding glided through the air as if they were slicing through it with perfect ease. As the beat moved, her hips and shoulders rolled fiercely. What the fuck? Like a hypnotic and passionate belly dance routine, mixed with an African tribal step. However, her focus remained on the sabers in her hand and the circle she was instructed to dance with. Her bare feet hit the ground hard with her heels jutting into the dirt, not hard enough to disturb the soil, but loud enough to echo alongside the drum beat. My breath was taken away by the sight. However, I wasn't the only one blown away by the dancing succubus.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
Oh, delicious. I didn't turn my head away, but I could tell that Sara had stepped up to stand beside me and watch Diana dance. The two of us stood side by side, watching the person we both cared about give homage to an extinct demon race. Sara's voice was barely audible over the sound of the drums and chants in the air.
I love her.
Oh shit. That stopped my thoughts. I looked over to Sara, seeing his gaze still plastered towards Diana. His expression was cool like a stone, serious in what he had said and meant. He loved her?
I've loved her ever since we were children. I've been by her side through everything, and she's given meaning to my life. I would give my life for her if she demanded it.
Wow. At last, Sara looked to me, a small fire burning in his eyes through his gaze. I could see the devotion and truth in his soul, knowing how deeply he cared for Diana.
What say you to that?
I say, look at those boobs. No, I'm just kidding. No, like, I love her too. I mean, that's honestly what is that an eyeball on her freaking armpit? I mean, honestly, we want her to feel the things we feel for her, because, like, we love her, right? Not she loves me, that sounds so insecure. I love her too. Sara was serious about his affections, so was I. Sara stared wide-eyed as I smiled and nodded to him, understanding his feelings. I feel happy when I'm with her. She's taught me so much during the time we spent together, about demons and the 5 worlds. I can still hardly believe it all exists at once. I looked back to Diana, seeing her continue her dance with a concentrated expression. The more I thought of her, the happier I felt myself becoming. I thought of all she had done. While what she did was a tragedy, it was in desperation. She had no choice. I understood that and knew eventually that without that act, I never would have learned about this world or magic at all. Before I met her, my life was boring and bland. I went to school and I was only allowed to think about my future. When Diana appeared, she changed my life. She showed me an entire new universe and I will never be able to thank her enough for that. He's like, oh shit. I know you've been with her for a very long time. Oh, no, but she's mine. But I understand your feelings for her perfectly. Yeah, I think that's a good one. We both loved and cared for her. I could tell that Sara deeply and truly loved Diana, but so did I. She had done so much for me already, and I found myself captured in her spell. Sara had to have been the same. I was given silence as Sara's reply. Diana's dance continued into the night, surprising me. Damn, she's just dancing all night? Shit. She had this much stamina? Despite watching her, she didn't stop to break once, most likely expending energy to keep moving. How long did the dance have to go for? As the torchlights illuminated the space and the moon was at the top of the sky, Diana finally stopped, panting hard and clashing the sabers together to cause a ring of steel to bounce through the air. The audience clapped wildly, many deeply captivated enough to stay the entire time, as some joined in during the later hours of the ritual. The brute, whom I decided to dub as Sergeant, stepped from the crowd into the ritual space and walked towards Diana, letting the sabers vanish into the air. Diana looked to the one approaching her with a tired stare. Silence lingered between them as Sergeant held out his arm to Diana, which, with a smile, Diana reached out and clasped her hand onto his forearm.
Honorimus dirigendo pedes.
What? Honor degenerate peas?
Victoria in consumatione.
Victory in cannolis? Another round of cheers echoed through the air at the words exchanged between them. I smiled, knowing that Diana had appeased Sergeant and his people. Diana released her hold on his hand and nodded to him before looking towards me and ushering me to her. I quickly rushed over as she lifted her arm and placed it along my shoulders tiredly. Diana?
I need a little help.
I could feel Sara's gaze on my back. Would he step in and fight me doing as she asked? I looked back to see him watching with a blank expression. What was going on in his mind? Oh, close her off again. With a laugh to Diana, I led her back to my room, where she sat tiredly on the bed. The exhaustion in her face was clear, and her body quaked from overexerting itself. What, dump? You danced so beautifully, Diana. With a smile, Diana looked up at me and blushed a bit. To see her face go a slight pink made her look so adorable.
You flatter me, dear.
I could only smile before she slowly stood back up and took my hand, surprising me. She kept her head down, however, which made me even more confused as to what she was doing. Diana?
Dear, I'm sorry.
For what? For what? Diana grimaced a bit before looking up at me with serious eyes. They flicked back and forth between red and gold. The fuck? But she stood her ground.
For the intolerance from my kind. Humans aren't exactly welcomed in this world.
It's all good, girl. That's what this was about? I understood completely, but it seemed to hit Diana the hardest. After all, she was the one who brought me to this world. I cupped Diana's cheek and smiled at her, causing her expression to go from shame to surprise. Diana, it's all right. Oh man, this is such a groundbreaking statement right here. I wonder what's going to happen after I say this. Diana hitched her breath. It was true though. I had grown to love her for everything she had done. She was brave, powerful, beautiful, everything I desired in a person. My heart beat wildly for her, and I could only pray that she understood my feelings. Diana looked to our hands, her eyes watering a bit. I instinctively wiped her eyes a bit with my fingers, now concerned. Diana?
I don't know what love is.
But do you feel something similar? I stared, dumbfounded. She didn't know what love was? However, she surprised me by placing a gentle, shaking hand on my cheek, leaning in.
But I'm willing to learn if it's with you.
Let's go! Nice! I'll take that. I gasped slightly, seeing the earnest and care in her eyes before she closed them and gently planted a kiss on my cheek. A soft shudder ran down my spine as I felt her soft lips press against my skin. Kiss her too. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to kiss her. I pulled Diana close. I was waiting for it. You saw me pause? I was waiting for it. I was like, there's going to be something here. I pulled Diana close and wrapped my arms around her neck, capturing her lips with my own. She gasped, surprised at my sudden eagerness, but slowly began to melt into the kiss between us. Her lips were as heavenly as the night I first tasted them. So now we're tasting. The entire story, the guys have been the ones tasting. Now we're doing it. Okay. This might get crazy because all the other ones we kind of knew it was going to happen. Obviously with two girls, you know, can't work that way, so who knows how this is going to go down. Her arms gently wrapped themselves around my waist, pulling me close to her body. The jangle of her brute dancer garb echoed in the room. What? She wasn't wearing it? Making me smile slightly at the surprised noise. I had nearly forgotten that she was still in her dancer outfit. She was not! On their own, my fingers slowly danced down Diana's shoulders and traced over the seams of her outfit, making her body shudder ever so slightly. She was enjoying a mere touch that much? Or was she hungry for energy? I pulled away slightly, seeing her eyes dance between red and gold, some control trying to be maintained within her gaze on me. She was out of energy, and she needed more than just a kiss. Oh my. For now, I would take it slow. Oh man, this is getting crazy. I leaned back in and kissed her again, this time biting her lower lip and enticing her to let go of the control she had. I wanted her to relax, and for me to be the one to comfort her and hold her against me. Maybe it was because of the call her succubus body had on me, or maybe it was because my heart desired to be with her that much. I didn't care, but I obeyed the command of my heart to drive her to the pleasure we both craved. The night would be for us, and the warmth of the afterglow would be exquisite. Diana released an almost carnal moan against my lips and tightened her grip on my waist, almost slamming my body against hers. Damn, girl, stop. I don't want to get broken. My plan was working, and she was falling for my temptations. I couldn't help the smirk that painted itself across my face at the gesture. In return, I quickly rushed my hands up Diana's body and combed my fingers into her hair before gripping her horns. Oh, well. To my surprise, Diana released a moan against my lips, causing me to pull away and stare into Diana's surprised eyes. A blush ran across her cheeks, but her gaze melted into one of lust and desire as I held her horns in my grasp. Were her horns her weak spot? We're just gonna start stroking them and shit? I gripped them harder. What is happening? I was right. I pulled Diana closer to me with her horns and almost slammed my lips into hers. Damn, we're trying to break her face or something? Wanting to devour the moans she was releasing. Jeez! I felt myself become more passionate in the kiss between us, needing to feel more of her. Dinah dug her nails into my hips and practically pushed me onto the bed behind me, causing us to bounce onto the mattress. I reflexively released her horns and felt my hands fall back on either side of me as Dinah smirked down at my form.
You're not playing fair.
What is this? Wow. All right then. Are you going to start playing unfair? What are you going to do now? I felt a small warmth ignite in my core, pleading with me to ravish her again, but I felt myself become lost in her dominant gaze over me. I felt the clothing on my body become uncomfortable, and I wanted to take it all off beneath her. Well, but I remained locked in her sight. Diana ran a hand along my cheek and traced a finger down my body, slowing its dance over each curve it found lovingly and sending shivers up my spine. Look who's talking! Diana chuckled before leaning in nose to nose with me.
Let me make you feel good.
Well, that's forward. I dare say that's forward. At last, Dinah became the one who initiated our kiss. Her hands pressed down on my waist to pin me to the bed beneath us. I wrapped my legs around her waist, pulling her to me and causing a chuckle to echo from between our lips. As her hands began to comb over my skin and tug my shirt off of my body, I felt her pull away to strip it off of me. It was tossed to the side to be forgotten, for our focus remained on each other. I felt myself turn red at what we were slowly diving into, taking in the fact that I had initiated a dance with the succubus I had grown to love. It was unfair that she was in control, but it was only natural. I had barely noticed the garb over Dinah's body disappearing, leaving her bare over me. I mean, she's bare all the time, it should be no surprise. Is that her butt? Hold on. Is that her butt? Wait. Is that her butt? I mean, realize that. If that's her ass, do you see the arc? What? That's crazy, girl. Oh, shit. Despite the purple taint over her skin covering her essentials, I could tell that she was still very much nude, just from the heat between us. Diana's kisses trailed down my cheek and neck, nipping over my skin and making the warmth within my core burn even hotter in need. Every kiss and touch she placed on me made my mind spin and dance in endless waves of soft euphoria. I knew that this wasn't her first time being intimate, but I could tell that every touch she made, she only did for me and my own pleasure. She truly indeed intended to make me feel good. I became like putty in her hands. Gross. my own eventually resting above her head as I let her strip me bare and massage over every inch of my body. She didn't just kiss over me, she made every muscle in my body obey her with her fingers and palms. The fuck? She's like molding and shit? Even as her tongue licked over my most delicate spots! What? I knew it was gonna get crazy. She took great care in watching my reactions and listening to my moans, working her way into my mind, body, will, and soul to tie them all together in a heated frenzy of lust and desire. This was truly the work of a master suck. What the fuck? And I was able to call her mine. Even as my cries echoed through the room, she didn't stop until I was floating on cloud 9. Her pleasure came from my moans in multiple releases. Fabulous. Filling herself with my energy, and possibly other things, and devouring the pleasure, among other things, we shared hungrily and lovingly. I was in heaven, in a succubus's embrace. Great. I barely could register her arms around my form as she held me close to her and kissed over my hair.
My sweet love, I will hold you close for as long as I can.
Wow, that's fabulous. Where are you saying those words? Because I think you're saying them beneath something. And I will be with you forever. My heart fluttered at the feelings ebbing within my chest. I was happy and would keep this happiness close to me for as long as I lived. Great. I awoke after a peaceful sleep. I had hoped so, staring up at Diana as she leaned back against the bedpost, reading a book I didn't recognize. As I stared to shift, Diana looked down at me and grew a loving smile.
Good morning, dear. Ready for today?
I don't know, do my legs work? Despite feeling the tired effects of the morning, I nodded with a smile of my own. I could tell that today was going to be a good day. Diana closed her book and placed it on the table beside the bed before standing, stretching her body. However, mid-stretch, Diana froze. In fact, the entire room became frozen, as if time itself had stopped. Huh? Diana? I felt myself move freely. Despite the air around me being still, I stood from the bed and walked around to Diana, seeing her frozen like a statue. What was going on?
Human.
Sarah. You can do that? Why don't you win every battle? My heart froze as I looked to see Sara by the corner of the room, arms crossed and stare cold as ice. What was he doing? Sara, what do you...
Come with me.
Oh, okay. What the fuck? Some sentimental shit? Without another word, Sara left the room into the hall. I was massively confused, but followed, now worried what would happen if I didn't. As we walked down the hall, I was stunned to see every person in the castle frozen in time. How was this possible? How was Sara doing this? Sara was silent the entire walk. Eventually, we walked to the gold set of doors which led into the chamber her family was killed. I hesitated, staring warily at Sara before seeing him open the chamber. Whoa! To my surprise, the room changed from a nursery room full of blood to a view of an outdoor space. As far as I could see were trees and plant life, bustling and full of life. What the hell? Sara stepped in and waited at the door, ushering me inside. I followed, despite every nerve in my body yelling at me to just run back. I had to see this through, whatever this was. Whoa! Sara led me to the forest of trees, making sure I was able to see him the entire time, until we reached a path of land with a singular large tree, covered in pink and purple petals. Whoa! I found myself becoming entranced at the sight. What was this place? Why was it here? As I examined the tree, I noted the major abundance of fruits in the branches. I smiled, knowing exactly what they were. Sweet flowers.
You know of them?
I suppose. I nodded. Dinah gave... Oh, that was the thing that she gave... Yeah. Dinah gave me a slice of one in the human world. They're the best thing I've ever tasted. I could faintly remember the taste of it. It was perfectly sweet and moist. I was so full of energy that after that day, I was hardly able to keep it all in. Sara let out a small chuckle, drawing my attention.
I was barely walking when I had my first taste. My lady climbed the tree and picked it herself before splitting it open down the middle and giving me one of the halves.
I slowly smiled, imagining a young Dinah and Sara doing such a thing. As my gaze wandered to the tree, I spied the crowns of Dinah's parents and sisters at the base, making me frown a bit. At the sight, Sara let out a small sigh.
Tell me honestly, do you truly believe you can make her happy?
I looked up at Sara, surprised at the question. His face was stern and serious as he gripped to his spear in a white-knuckled grip. Why was he asking such a thing? With a nod, I took in a breath and stood up straight. I do. Wait. Can we do the two? I mean, it's weird, but can we, somehow, mesh with this? You know what I'm saying? And I know you love her too. We do. I didn't want us to fight over this like children. Yes, I loved her, but so did he. Who was I to push him away? After all, he had served her his entire life. Sara stared hard at me, taking in what I was saying before raising his spear, pointing it at me.
You truly love her?
Is she, I think she should have to pick, you know what I'm saying? I do. I'm sorry if that upset you. A moment passed. What would Sara do? I prayed that he wouldn't strike me down. I hoped that he was willing to listen and compromise. A small chuckle escaped Sara's lips, causing me to look at him in confusion. His face painted his concern and his strange thoughts on this almost humorous situation. As he lowered his spear, he shook his head.
It doesn't upset me. I just want Azayr to be happy.
As do I. Sara locked eyes with me, gazing into my soul to judge my words for their truth. I was being honest, and truly, to know that both of us cared about and loved Diana was amazing to fathom. Eventually, Sara smiled slightly.
Then, maybe it's best that we both try to make her happy.
At the same time? I smiled and nodded, happy to know that he understood. This wasn't a contest, nor was this something to fight about. If we both loved her, then the best thing to do was to both shower her in the love that we felt she deserved.
What is going on?
Just eating fruit and talking some shit. Yeah, is this a private place? Sara and I suddenly looked into the direction of Dinah's voice, seeing her completely red in the face in anger. As she walked forward, Sara bowed his head in submission.
My lady, I
asked Sara if we could talk in private. Dinah stopped walking and stared at me with the most confused look I had ever seen. I giggled a bit before stepping to her and taking her hand. We needed to chat about a little something. Something about you, of course.
About me?
Oh, shit. I nodded with a grin before walking over to Sara and placing a hand on his shoulder, making him look up at me. I lowered my hand and offered it to him, helping him stand up before continuing. We both are in love with you, Diana. The look on Dinah's face was both hilarious and adorable. Her face turned completely red as she darted her eyes back and forth between the both of us.
I
Azayr,
Sara took a step forward and took one of Dinah's hands as I did the same with her free hand. Dinah looked back and forth between us, now completely in shock and uncertainty. Sara and I couldn't stop the smiles on our faces at the sight.
We love you and want you to be happy.
If it takes both of us to do it, then we will both happily do everything we can to ensure that happiness. My heart felt like I had made the right choice. Sara loved her and so did I. There was no need to lay claim to her when she was deserving of ultimate love. If it was something we could both provide, then it was well worth sharing. Dinah's eyes, I'm just thinking of like random things that could be. Dinah's eyes began to water as she looked down and tried to catch her breath. Before Sara and I could worry, however, she softly chuckled.
You both are such fools.
She's so upset. She's joking, bro. For a moment, Sara and I became the ones confused. But as Dinah looked back up at us with a happy smile and soft tears running down her cheeks.
I don't deserve either of you, let alone both of you.
That's why you're wrong, Zaire, or whatever. That's weird. That's the first time I had to say that. I stepped forward and softly kissed Diana on the lips, making her... Wait, was that his... That wasn't his line. That was mine. Making her gasp and stare at me wide-eyed. As I pulled away, I grinned. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Sara stepped forward and placed a kiss of his own on Diana's lips, causing another gasp to erupt from her and make me... What the heck? And make the blush on her face deepen.
And we would be honored to grant you that happiness.
Fabulous. Dinah couldn't help sobbing and covering her face with her hands. Sara and I quickly rushed to her sides, embracing her and sandwiching her between our bodies. We didn't want to upset her. Her body shuddered between ours before she took in a couple of deep breaths, trying to calm down. Sara and I, however, began to pepper kisses along her hands and cheeks. What the fuck? Wanting to comfort. I'm just imagining them standing in this big-ass garden and just, like, rapidly kissing all over her. Like, what the fuck? It was hard to believe that we agreed on something, but Sara and I both wanted the best for Dinah, and both of our hearts wanted to be with her. As long as we were open about it, we would be okay. We were completely happy. The energy that sparked within Dinah completely filled her with power, giving her the strength to completely annihilate the Demon Lord's army almost single-handedly. What? That's all it took? Some freaking human... never mind. What many expected to take years to accomplish, Dinah took days. Every attack the Demon Lord threw at us ended with him becoming utterly defenseless, soldierless, and powerless. Despite him managing to escape each time, we dwindled his troops to a mere handful of imp demons. Jesus. So this is going to be a different battle. Soon we had cornered him against a stretch of water called the Decaying Sea in his castle. Sara, Dinah, and I stood upon a clifftop, staring down at the legions that had gathered below us as we mentally prepared ourselves for what would be the final battle. As weird as it is as a place to stop here, I'm going to stop it right here. Because I want to have because I think the finale is going to be a lot different than what it usually is. We haven't seen the boys at all. Nothing is the same. You know what I'm saying? Nothing is the same at all. So I think that we might get a good chunk of content out of the next segment too. And I don't want this video to be like super long because it's already going on for quite a bit. So I do apologize for stopping at a weird moment, but I want to savor the very last little bit of this game, the main game, not the episodes. So hopefully you enjoyed this. This has been a really awesome episode. It's kind of nice seeing like all new stuff. Like this is the only playthrough that is not similar whatsoever to any of the other ones. So that's pretty awesome. And we'll see how the battle goes and everything. Maybe frickin' Sara will finally fight with us, because it's been like he's never fought with Diana. So maybe he'll finally do that in this battle. I hope so, man. I really do. But with that being said, drop some comments down below. Again, don't forget to enter the giveaway. Again, this is the very last one. And also, considering I haven't put out the videos yet, that's another reason I'm ending it here, because I don't want the video to end. Like, I don't want to like continue going and not do the giveaway because I'm recording right now. So I want some time to get some feedback from you guys. So drop those comments, get those entries in. Let me know what you think about where you want the giveaway to happen. The end of this playthrough or randomly along one of those following episodes that come after this. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely make sure you rate the video what you think it deserved. If you did enjoy, please consider sharing the video as well. That kind of stuff really helps me out a lot, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or any social media really, or even word of mouth with your friends. That's really awesome too. Of course, it directly helps me as well as the entire community and is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, if you want to become a sage in training, make sure you subscribe today. And as always, this has been Mr. Basie, your favorite sage, and I'll see you in the next video.